Hey, what's going on YouTube? This is your boy IMF Howl. I am currently playing for the Malaysian team called IMF, or mainly now they're Sentinel. And for today's first episode for my From Zero to Hero series, which basically just teaches you guys how to get gradually better at Valorant. If you're just starting out, you can't find yourself getting any better. So all this is from my personal experience. It won't fit everyone, but I'll try my best to make it general, so everyone can do it and hopefully it helps everyone. So for the first episode, I'll be teaching you guys how to get good aim and how to keep it consistent. You can win most of the fights. So first and foremost, the most important thing to get your aim is, of course, your sensitivity. If you don't know what sensitivity is, which I assume you do, but I'll explain it for the people who don't know. It basically means this how fast your mouse goes whenever you swing it. So the lower it goes, the slower it gets, the higher it goes, the faster it gets. You kind of need to find that balance for yourself, because you don't have to necessarily follow anyone's sensitivity, because it's a personal thing, it's preference. It's all what you like. You don't have to follow, you don't have to follow shroud settings, you don't have to follow tens. It's all up to you. Again, not trying to throw shade in anyone who follows it. I sometimes do copy some pro settings just because it looks nice, and that's kind of the thing. People kind of throw shade at you for, like, whenever you ask, say, hey, pro player, what's your sensitivity? And then I've seen people like type in chat where they go, oh, it's just preference, you don't have to follow it. I used Shazam's Sens as my base starting point because I know how slow it was, but I needed a starting point where I could go. So in my opinion, you should use pro settings as a base starting point to find your perfect Sens. So if I remember correctly, Shazam uses 0.25 if you convert it to 800 DPI. So I kind of just use that as a base starting position and then just gradually increase it up to find my own perfect settings. Besides that, to find your own, if you don't have a starting point, if you don't want to use a starting point, you can just jump yourself into a custom map, or you can just jump into the range, but I prefer range because it's more faster. What I like to do is, let's say if you don't have a bot summon, just shoot a wall, or you can just like find this kind of thing and then just try to track it as best as you can. And if let's say you're going left, it goes more to the right, that means it's way too fast. But let's say you're going left and it goes right, that means you're tracking it very slowly. So try to find that balance and just gradually increase it from your starting point. And the reason why I use like this 3 decimal sense is because I try to find a balance between the speed of the sensitivity. So if I were just to use 0.29, I'd be missing out that 0.003 speed, because I want to do a nice 180. And that's kind of my principle to finding a good sense in any game, really. I try to find the perfect balance between the speed of the sense, so it doesn't put me at a disadvantage where I'm kind of too focused on trying to keep my aim still, but at the same time I can do a perfect 180 without discomforting myself. Try to stay with that sense for a very long time. Don't change your sensitivity, don't change any of your settings in game, really. Just don't change any of it. When tilting in game, you blame your settings and then you just change everything, and then you kind of screw up your muscle memory. So if you're not feeling it in that game, don't blame your sense. Just try to find other ways where you can actually do something. You don't have to always be fragging every game. You can't always be perfect every game, so don't blame your settings whenever you play bad. The second thing is warm-up routines. So for me, my warm-up routine is jumping in a range and then just spawn the bots and then just stand in the middle and just go around. You don't have to spray at one tap, whatever you feel like. Usually I just keep spraying and I try to do it as fast as I can, but at the same time not super fast to the point I'm usually like wearing out my arm, then I can't aim in game. The thing about warm-up is it's not restricted. You're not restricted to do that kind of certain things and then in that certain order. You can do it in whatever you feel like, but for me, I personally feel most comfortable in just doing this for like 2 to 3 minutes, and then after I get that down, I just go out here and then I just shoot these 4 flying bots right here. So I'll just try to shoot them as fast as I can and try to stay in the middle. So I can't even like spray also. You can do that if you want to do. That's purely up to you. Now you try to track them when they go up as best as I can. And that's pretty much it. That's really all I do for like my warm-up. And I do this between 5 to 6 minutes, which is my sweet spot of like warm-up, because you don't want to be doing it for too long. If you do it too long, you kind of lose that good aim you'll be warming up for. And that's kind of from my personal experience, because back then in CS I warmed up for like 15 minutes, and I only played good for the first game, and then the second game just played horrible. It's just like I just get tired from aiming. So for me the sweet spot is 5 to 6, but you're not again bringing it back to the point what I said a few minutes ago. I said you're not really restricted, so 5 to 6 minutes is not a must for you to stop at. It's just preference, but for me the sweet spot is 5 to 6 minutes. Third on how to get good and consistent aim is try to stay calm as much as you can. Try not to tense up your grip too much, because then numb out your fingertips and sometimes even tire it out because you're gripping it way too hard. So kind of try to stay calm in game. Try not to force the grip too much. Try to relax your aim. So like for me personally, I find the sweet spot for me is trying to have that kind of snap feeling, but at the same time not really forcing it like super fast. Kind of just like slowly doing it. So like I'm not really turning on my aim. But another addition to staying calm is kind of think of the situation you're in. So I'll pull out a clip right now, and then I'll show you what I mean by trying to stay calm.
No more.
One enemy remaining. 30 seconds left.
Never mind, all good.
Nice one.
The reason why I kind of stood still behind the pillar was I was kind of thinking of, okay, which footsteps are closer and who should I prioritize first in killing to win the 1v1, and then making the clutch situation less and less intense because I don't have to focus on that many players. And from that clip, I targeted the guy on my right first because I heard him getting closer to me, and it was the easier 1v1 because I didn't hear any other footsteps coming from the right, more from the left. So I took the right fight first, which narrowed it down to a 1v3. Then I killed the Killjoy. Got lucky with the Jet because she whiffed her kunais, and then I kind of thought in like a quick split second on where the Omen could be. Since I cleared backside, he's not there. He can only come from E-box, which is where I pre-aimed, and lo and behold, he came from there. So that's kind of my point. Is try to stay calm in those kind of situations. It can be clutch situations. It can be, you know, you solo holding a site kind of situations. So try to think about it and stay calm. Don't freak out and then get tensed up, and then you'll lose your aim. Of course, the most important is crosshair placement, which everyone by now should know that crosshair placement is very important. But to those who don't know what crosshair placement is, it basically just means that you're placing your crosshair on where the head is, where you think the enemy's gonna peek from. So let's say I'm peeking this corner, and you can see I put my crosshair here because whenever this guy walks out of here, my crosshair should be on his head by now, and all I have to do is just click my mouse one and he should just be dead. And that's very important to like winning most of the fights. It is literally just going for the head first, because you don't have to remove your mouse much. So if the guy would peek here, he would just get into my crosshair. I don't have to lose his click. I don't really have to move my crosshair too much, because let's say if my crosshair is here and his head goes out of there, I have to either flick up or I have to just keep spraying him, and you never know, he might win just by tapping you in the head. So headshots really matter in winning fights. So it really depends on the positioning though, which I'll get to in the next video about repositioning on how to win fights more. But that's it about really aiming. So to conclude it, it's sensitivity, your warm-up routines, staying calm in tense situations, and crosshair placements. So thank you guys for watching. This is your boy IMF Howl. Peace out.